Hello, everyone. Welcome to SureFire Live. I am trying a couple things here. Um, Trying to go live on Chimney World on that Facebook page, but it won't let me do it through. If you've been watching, you know the struggle that Facebook has changed their parameters. So I'm trying to go live on Facebook, on Chimney World, and then on StreamYard on some other things. So welcome. Join us tonight for I don't have a guest tonight. I wanted it to be more of an open conversation about what's going on with business, what's going on in your world, what's going on my world. And I find that together through this, when we're kind of have shared experiences, we can actually navigate this whole thing a little bit better. So welcome. Let me check my Facebook post. It looks like it's going live. Yes, I think it's working. All right, so welcome. I wanted to start off the week, this talk with just some gut checks that happened this week on two different levels for me. And then I actually heard of it happening to somebody else. But um, I was on a motorcycle ride this weekend. We were in the Blue Ridge Parkway. And I was with my family and some friends. And we love motorcycle riding. We have a great time. We have a good group that goes with us, ridden for years. And we had a guy that joined us that hadn't ridden much, older guy, and he used to ride a lot, but he hadn't ridden in years. And we were riding and not speeding or anything, and he had a wreck. He wrecked, and in fact, he's still in the hospital. He's got a broken neck, and at this point, no paralyzation, but he's still not out of the woods. Earlier in the morning, when we were eating breakfast, he told me, he's like, he's retired, but he hasn't really lived the life he wanted to being retired. He's like, I thought when I was retired, I would do a lot more things. I would go a lot more places. I would travel a lot more. And he said, I really haven't. I've only gone a few places, although I've had the time, had the money. I'm not really doing it. And he said, I really need to focus on traveling more and doing more. And I said, you're right. I said, what are you saving the money for? It's not your kids, they're all grown. What are you holding on for? And why not just travel and go? And then we started talking about a trip to Italy that he wanted to take. And literally 2 hours later, he had a life-changing event, and he may never get to go. I'm praying for him, and I hope he does. No matter what, his life changed drastically in just a small turn of events. Everything changed. And, I felt terrible. I mean, I felt so sad because he had just shared with me what he really wants to do now that he has time and money, and instantly he couldn't do it. Fast forward that 2 more days later, I had an employee at one of my businesses die, young guy, 30 years old, died from some kind of diabetic. They don't quite know what it was. He had diabetes, and he was fighting it. And he didn't wake up on Sunday. Terrible. Had to call the parents and some of the people, and got to make arrangements. And so, in the span of 48 hours for me, I, on two sides of the spectrum, a guy that had just got life going and a guy who had retired, both had major things happen. And, you have to look at those things and figure out, what's the lesson. And, obviously the lesson is, this life is what you make of it. And also it is to be treasured. And my wife and I, we celebrated 21 years of marriage last night. And we're just talking about how fast it is. We've actually been together 30 years. And this is my 40th year in business. And it all feels, it sounds like an old guy, and it is, but it goes by so rapidly, and you don't know what is going to happen. Hey, Ferd, how are you, buddy? Good to see you, man. You're on the SureFire side. Let me check my Facebook side. How are we doing? It looks like it's playing. I can't tell. It's just no viewers, though. So I don't know that the viewers have been enacted. So that's surprising. Let me see something real quick. Inside settings. hopefully it's not set to private. I have a feeling it's set to private over here. It's the first time I've tried it, so we'll just run it. But I have a feeling. Let me look at settings, default follower, restricted, no, discussions open. I have a feeling it's not getting out, but that's fine. Whatever, we'll run it. So anyway, we we've been married 30 years, or we've been together 30 years, married 21 years. And it's just super fast. So without going through that, you couldn't find it on Facebook. That's interesting. I guess it didn't show up in Chimney World. It's supposed to be broadcasting there, but anyway, watching it from Nova Scotia, maybe Ines. Hey, Sarah. Anyway, so my point is, and not to, we know this, you hear it 1,000 times. It's almost trite saying, you got to appreciate what you've got, and you've got to, live every day. And you can't really do that because you got life to live, and you got things to do, and you've got things, but how much of your life are you putting off till later? Are you waiting to be happy later in life? Are you saying, once I make this much money, or once I get this house, or once I get this promotion, or once I get this, then I'll be happy? And it is making it happy the whole time. The journey is the happiness. Like, we're on these motorcycle routes, and I'm the leader. I'm running us through, I've got these trips planned, and I find myself like just thinking about going through to get back to the cabin. I'm like, why are you so concerned about getting to the end of that, which is where we all wanted to leave and get away from? Just be in the moment and enjoy the stops, enjoy the extra long, gas station break, or the situations that happen, not getting the circle done and getting back to the cabin and sitting there, because we all came here to ride motorcycles. We'll ride the motorcycle. And so so I know it's kind of story time. I might as well just tell stories, but one of my employees I asked him a question about something I need to know about, and through text, he took it completely wrong. He took it almost like, he just took it very wrong, and it made him really, really mad. I didn't know it until somebody told me, said, hey, you made this person super mad about that question you asked. I didn't mean to at all. But I did notice that this employee he gets angry at a lot of things pretty quickly, and we all love him. Like, he is amazing at what he does, but he wears it's almost like he feels like a lot of things are an attack on him. Like, he takes everything super personally. And I told him the story of the house with 1,000 mirrors, and he'd never heard it. And maybe you've heard of it. If not, I'll tell it, because I think it's relevant as to, this world. I think it's an old Japanese folk tale. In fact, actually, I pulled it up just to make sure I'm gonna recite it, because I think it's better than me reading it. But it basically goes like this. There was a town, and in this town, there was a house that had 1,000 mirrors in it. And one day, this little dog, his owner was in the town. This little dog ran into the house, and he was a happy dog. He was, he was always the life of the party. They love, he just was a happy dog. He runs into this house, and he looks around, and he sees 1,000 other happy dogs, right? He starts to wag tails, and he's got 1,000 tails wagging back at him, and he is excited. And it's a super great place for him to be in. And he loves being in this house because there's 1,000 other happy dogs like him, and he can't wait to go back. And he comes back to his owner. He's like, I love that place. When can we come back and visit? This is the best place ever. And you switch that, and then there was another dog who wasn't very happy. He was not the happiest dog, and he walks into that house, and he looks around. There's other 1,000 not happy dogs around him, and he kind of starts to snarl a little bit because one is looking, and then 1,000 of them start to snarl back at him, and he starts to bark at them, and they bark at him, and he's like, I hate this place. This is the worst place in the world. It's full of mean dogs. It's full of I never want to come back. And a lot of times this life and also your work becomes the house of a thousand mirrors. It is totally what you get back from it. And if you put out, like I told him, I said, Mike, when you come in, you come in with with your mad, other people in this place get mad too. Their defenses come right up and they give you back what you're giving because it's just human nature. And if you're assuming that those other thousand dogs are mad, they are mad. They will get mad for sure. Now, obviously, it's a story and it's not true. Sometimes you're the happiest person, and then somebody's terrible to you. But this thing, as much as I've found, is the more I try to give out, and the more I try to be the happy smiling dog, the more happy smiling dog I see in the world. And I look around and I see that I want to see the good. I want to see what's possible. I want to see how, um, you know, other people that are living it. And then if I'm around a negative dog, if I can help them, I will. But if not, I get away from them. So they attract more of what they have. So that's kind of the story of the house of a thousand mirrors. Let me look up something real quick to make sure I read that all right. Here it is. Now I'll read it to you. Long ago, in a small village far away, there was a place known as the House of Thousand Mirrors. A small, happy little dog learned from this place, and he decided to visit. When he arrived, he bounced happily up the stairs to the doorway of the house, into the doorway of the house. He looked through the doorway with his ears lifted and high and his tail wagging as fast as it could. To his great surprise, he found himself staring at 1,000 other happy little dogs with their tails wagging just as fast as his. He smiled a great smile, and and was answered with 1,000 great smiles, just as warm and friendly. He left the house, and he thought to himself, this is a wonderful place. I will come back and visit often. Okay, I realized in the story I was telling he had a guy with him. He didn't. He's just a dog by himself. In the same village, another little dog who was not quite as happy as the first one decided to visit the house. He slowly climbed the stairs. He hung his head low as he looked into the door. When he saw 1,000 unfriendly dogs staring back at him, he growled at them and was horrified to see 1,000 little dogs growling back at him. As he left, he thought to himself, that's a horrible place, and I will never go back there again. All the faces in the world are mirrors. What kind of reflections do you see in the faces of the people you meet? Author unknown. So I like that. I like that story. I think it's the thing. I think it's something I believe in. Hey, JJ, good to see you, buddy. Mark, always keep me above ground. I agree. Let's just keep you above ground. Stay there. Keep blessing the world with your vacations. I haven't seen any. I've seen posts lately on these trips. I need to see them. You inspire me to go places. So, but anyway, hey man, let's talk business today. If I don't get questions and I can see that I still have nobody that can see this on the Chimney World platform, and I don't know why it's doing that unless it just plays back, but it was supposed to be live and I can't deal with it anymore. So I'm just going to move on. All right. So again, ask questions. I will talk about some things I've got going on and let's just talk. So one thing I want to make sure, if anybody wants to go to the Sweepaway Cancer Rally, it is June 14th and 15th in Wytheville, Virginia. I'm going to put that in the banners right here across the bottom. I thought I had it on here. If I don't, let me see. So I'm going to put it up here. It is sweepawaycancer.com and .com. And then when you do that, each folder, hold on, delete. Sorry, hold on. Having a little technical difficulties. One more time, add banner. Yes. Okay, sweepawaycancer.com. You can go there, register to the rally, or you could buy the tickets and not come. Just let us know you're not coming, but support the cause. It's a couple $100. We are going to go there on Friday night, have a dinner, have a toast, have a nice fun gathering. Beautiful little town in the mountains. Saturday morning, we get up and have a breakfast. and we go on a super cool ride. Bring whatever vehicle you want. We got a nice little group that's coming this year, and people are talking about it, and it's going to be nice. Let's see, Casey, do they have shirts for sale this year? Didn't see any in convention. Yeah, so we switched vendors and we had problems with the website. They are on the website now. And on the website, if you buy the rally package, you get the rally shirts. If you can buy regular Superboy Cancer shirts on the website now, and it's just a standard one. But thank you for asking that, because the important part about this is that's one of our main fundraisers of the year is the shirts and the support through there. And we're going to work to have more swag, and also, we've got rallies, we have conventions that we go to, and we get donations, and we've had more requests than ever because a lot of people are in need, but also some other outreach platforms have found out about us, and now they're referring their patients to us as a thing. And again, we're mostly chimneys. Most everybody we donate to has some kind of chimney affiliation, but it's not just chimneys. If there's a good, if they've got a need and we've got the money, we give it away. So again, 96% of every dollar goes to the victims or the survivors and their bills. We cut them a check directly, and it helps them directly. So we looked at doing research and stuff like that, but we could affect more people personally and see the results of our fundraising efforts if we just gave it to the person. We asked for some backup documentation because there's been a few people, believe it or not, try to rip us off and try to ask for money, and they weren't really victims. So we have a little process to make sure that they are indeed have an issue that we can help with, and we do. And most everybody gets a yes from us. So Casey, yes. So that's Sweetboy Cancer. That's the rally. Go to sweetboy.com, sweetboycancer.com, click on the rally, and there it is. Also, I was in, and it kind of goes along the part that I just said. Yeah, JJ's a victim. I was in a business meeting this morning with a guy who was selling long-term life insurance or long-term disability care. And I think I'm going to bring him on to talk on this program to talk about options for long-term disability for people, because nobody can take care of future you except healthy current you. You are the only one that can take care of future you. And what are the things that you do to take care of future you? Like, who takes care of future Mark? Who takes care of old Mark? It's got to be young Mark. And not that I'm young, but it's got to be you now. Like, how do you do that? What's it look like? And he was talking about different, insurance plans, short-term and long-term, to protect your income, to protect in case something happens. And literally the guy that just wrecked his motorcycle, he's retired, but if he'd been my age, he still has some working years to go. And I've had some of this happen in my business where somebody got hurt or got sick at a young enough age that, and now they need that and they don't have it in place. So this isn't an insurance sales thing at all, but it was just a note that I put down. I do want to say this too. We had in SureFire, we have a student of the month we just look at who takes the most courses and classes, and then we award the student of the month to that person. And the person who won it this month was Dalton Moore, and he works for Steve and Lindsay Trumbull up there at Chimney Doctors in Minnesota. And we want to congratulate him. He got an email. We're not sure he's responded back, but I sent a message to Steve. And I'll tell you, when people use that platform, when they use the platform, one of the complaints is, hey, I can't get my guys to do it. Can't get my people to take the training. And that always is, I know this could sound bad, but that's always a leadership problem. If you believe education is important to your company, you will make it happen. You will you will put the things in place to make it happen, just like you do if you believe your inspection report is important. If you believe the inspection report is important to get the customer, you probably get it to them 90% of the time because that's important. And we always ask people, is training and education important to you? And everybody pretty much says yes. yet they don't do all the things to actually show that it's that important. So if it is important, you will make systems to get it done. And don't get me wrong, I have trouble with it too. There's times that some guys just burn right through it, and other times it's tough. But if they won't do it, they won't do other things. And I've found it's kind of like a leading indicator. If people won't do that, they won't do other things for you. So congratulations to Dalton Moore and Steve Trumbull, showing great leadership, getting your guys to take that much education online. We're looking at some other numbers, and looks like we've educated, or over 7,000 people have taken some form of education on our platform. And that was just an amazing number that we were looking up today, because we're trying to figure out how to be better. We have meetings. We're getting ready to redo the website. We're getting ready to redo how the whole thing works, because it's still pretty clunky. And we've got Tim Reed, who a lot of you know is working on that website for us to make it very much more functional. So if you're a customer of SureFire, next probably 3 months, maybe 6 months, there'll be a whole new setup and an easier way to get education, and should work a lot better. So, all right, I'm not seeing any questions. I need your questions. I can make stuff up, and I will make stuff up, but I'm here tonight to help if you have any things. And I'll tell you a couple things. I've been doing some TikToks, and so there's a lot of other business owners that have nothing to do with chimneys reaching out to me with problems just like we all have. This one guy reached out to me. He's a concrete company. He goes, "Man, I've got a concrete company. It's a complete disaster." Um, all these other construction companies and service-based companies have problems running them. And let me just kind of talk about it for a minute. At whatever level you are in business, your systems are perfectly aligned to give you that result. And you have optimized systems, however you do it, the way you answer the phone, the way you price yourself, the way you market, the way you do things is perfect for where you are now, because it got you here. It landed you right here. Now, it's not a perfect business. Obviously, you have problems, but it's a perfect system to deliver the results you're getting. You have created that. You may have inherited it. You may have bought it. Whatever the results you have right now is your thing. It's got your systems. And JJ asked me, how's my chimney business? I'll talk about that, because it actually flows right into what I'm going to say. So your systems create your results. And then when you hit a roadblock, let's just say you're stuck at whatever number, $1 million, 2 million, whatever the number is, that's where you have to figure out what to do. So for instance, when I was a little over $1 million, I crashed the business. There were some systems that I did not have in place right. I didn't have my sales right. I didn't know marketing very well. I was not a good leader. I had all these issues, and it got me to $1 million, but then, I couldn't maintain it, and I crashed it back down. And then what I noticed was every certain mark of, normally it's revenue, because it's a certain amount coming in and a certain amount you got to produce, you run into a roadblock. So let's just say, for me, it was like, 1 to 2 was a roadblock. Then we went quickly past that. 3, I got stuck at like 4 and 5, and on and on and on. I can tell you the sticking points. I'm just saying there's real sticking points. And you've got to fix stuff. You got to flip the table over. You got to change software. You got to change processes. You got to change training process, or all these things you have to change, add new services, do something if you want to grow the business again. So JJ said, "Hey, how's your chimney business?" These last 2 years, we've hit one of those sticking points. We are at a certain revenue number, and we were teetering back and forth, like around that number, sometimes a little higher, sometimes a little lower, but like really flat basically, and slightly less for last year. This year, we're kind of on track for some growth. But what I realized was I have to take my whole thing and flip it over. I have to take and I talked about it a few weeks ago. I've had more turnover this year than ever, and just more people in and out like than I've ever had. Some of it's a sign of the times. I talked to other owners who are like that. It's like my oldest guys have been with me a long time. They're still with me. And then I've got a good group of people that are like 5 to 10 years, good group in there. But the newest guys are in and out. Up to 5 years is like they move faster or they don't work. They don't know how to work. They don't abide by the rules. Something happens and they time out. So we're going through a lot of apprentices. I used to say I had to hire about 3 good apprentices to get one that really came through the apprenticeship program, became a certified tech. I'll tell you now, for me, it feels like it's more like 20. I got to go through 20 to get a good one. And it may be not that high, but it's a lot. It's a different world and harder. So then, what do you tell yourself? Do you say, oh, it's too hard, I don't want to do it? Or do you say, well, that's just the new normal. How do I adjust my processes to go through it faster, to go through people and see more people faster so I can find those really good ones? Because they're out there. There's some amazing technicians and people out there. They are. Ferd is on here. He is a fantastic technician. Used to work for other chimney companies, and we couldn't be luckier to have him. But there are I don't know, a lot more to go through. So, yeah, so JJ says, that's because they're lazy. There's definitely that. There's definitely some that are lazy, but I found there's been lazy guys no matter what generation it is. I find they don't know how to work. I find they've never been led. They've never been responsible. I talked to a girl yesterday who called me. Was frustrated. She works for another company and is frustrated with a young person that's working there who's probably never had a good leader, never been around somebody that's a, stronger leader. And this younger guy is real cocky. He's real brash. He's kind of belligerent to everybody around. He's hard to work with. And, I've started going through policies that we have, attendance policies and, certain disciplinary policies, but I can tell you all that sucks. All that sucks to deal with. But for me, what sucked worse was not having the technicians to handle all the workload that we have, not having a business that I could not have to do the work. Like we were joking today, like, I'm an inside cat now, basically. I run businesses. I'm not the technician doing the work. And I think once you get into that, once you become an inside cat, you don't want to go back out and be an outside cat. Not that you can't, because you can. Obviously, you can do it, but that's not the plan. But I can tell you, I have to. It's harder. It's harder than ever. You've got inflation. You've got the kind of a different wind blowing at you with all the issues. Home ownership, the inflation is up, so new homeowner purchases are down, and so all those affect us in the chimney world in a bad way. I've had a lot of people super scared the first quarter of this year call and say it was dead. It sounds like the feeling I'm getting, people are getting calls again, and it's kind of picking back up. Matt says, what do you consider the number one first priority training platform for being the inside cat? Hey, Matt, good to see you, man. Number one first priority training platform. So it sounds like you're asking, how do you get there? For me, it was mentor. There wasn't really a platform for that. Clearly I have some stuff on SureFire about how to build businesses, how to build, multi-truck operations. I'm getting ready to put one on there next month that is earned, not given, how we pay people, how we, how we pay different salaries, profit sharing, how we do commission structures, how we pay hourly on some things. And so, oh, here it is. So I've been in truck for years, and now I'm the inside cat. So he's the inside cat. So that was a goal of his. Obviously, he wanted to do that. And then now what? Well, for me, it was find other guys that were in that position and follow what they're doing. So, a few months ago, I went to Tommy Mello's home service freedom event. That was eye-opening for me. I think everybody that has gone to those events is really good. He's got next level everything going on, and he's kind of he's the king out there because he did what he did with A1 Garage Door. And Matt, I would just say look for either really fast-moving chimney companies or other events like the Tommy Mello event, or the things like, I don't really find it in our like National Guild stuff. I don't really find it, it's not in certifications necessarily. It's sometimes just reaching outside. A little bit of a shameless promotion. We have a group called SureFire Accelerator, which is a group of those business owners, and we talk almost every day. We work through problems, and I mean, every single, anything that we talk about is open for discussion. And then we travel to each other's businesses. We watch, how everybody does things. You learn so much from going into people's businesses. And then we have an annual event where we train half the day and play the other half of the day. And for you, Matt, and for most men, a lot of men don't have like other men they do stuff with, like, as a tribe or as a group of people to bounce stuff off of. A lot of times we're out there on an island by ourselves doing our thing, but we're kind of on an island by ourselves versus, networking and being around groups. And, that kind of interactivity is actually very healthy for you too, is being around other people. A lot of people are like, I don't like people, I don't want to be around them. But in business, they say your network is your net worth. And, one of the most important things I have is my network of people and processes and services that I know that I can call on or refer that make, your net worth and your business more valuable. So, Matt, what I would say is get around others, figure out how to get around others, and then go to events, maybe coaching, maybe, I have people come to my business for Blue Collar University, where I work with you for 2 days and I show you how we do everything. And then we work on your business. And I have a couple of those slots. In fact, I had a cancellation today. A guy just bought another business. He won't have time to come. So I actually do a little bit of that. I love it. I think when I get older and I'm out of the fight, I'll do a lot more of it. But right now I do a little bit of it. But you just got to be around people that are doing, they're where you want to go. You need to be around people that are ahead of you in the game, that are further down the road, and they're living the life that you want, or they have either the freedom or the family time or the business or the house or the cars or whatever you want in this life. There's somebody that's probably done it, and figure out how to get around them. That is the best, that's the best advice I can give you. But that's a great question. Again, back to problems. Again, I showed this a few weeks ago that I think it's a big possibility. I've got a demo tomorrow and another time where people are calling me and say, hey, the phone's just not ringing enough. I'm not that busy. And it panics them. Now, some people are totally fine with it. Like, man, thank goodness for a break. I love it. But some people, when you got to meet payroll and you've got, mortgages to hit, it's not a good feeling. And so I say this a bunch. You've heard me say it recently. If that phone is not ringing in, you have to ring it out. You have to get on the phone and make, 10 times more calls than you need. So if you average 20 calls a day and you're not getting them, you need to go 10 times that going out. You need to figure out how to, or at least 5 times that. You need to, get, 100 calls out a day to your current customer base. You have a gold mine in your database, an absolute treasure trove of money sitting there. And if you're not busy right now, the problem is you're not willing to go in there and do that kind of work. If your phone's not ringing and I'm telling you how to do it and you don't do it, it's just because you have a level of you're fine. You're complacent a little bit. But if the pressure's on, you have a treasure trove, a absolute gold mine in your data. A couple things, just easy ones. Open estimates. You've left estimates, probably millions of dollars of estimates for people, and they didn't do the work. Well, some of them are never going to do the work. Some of them use somebody else, but a lot of them didn't do anything. You gave them the information and nothing happened. The pain level wasn't enough and they didn't do it, or they didn't believe you, or whatever. They didn't have the money. There's a million reasons. Well, mine that data, mine all those open estimates, postcards, phone calls, emails, text messages. Like, that's our number one campaign. We do it multiple times a year. Every open estimate, we get on the phone, smiling, dialing, texting, blah, 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 until they say, hey, no, or they, we take them off the list, or you'd be surprised how many times, yeah, you've called me 7 times and I'm finally ready to do it. Next, all of your annual services. You've got thousands of people that use you once or twice and haven't used you since, or use you every year, but you wait till they call you instead of you call them. Now, our industry is okay at this. A lot of times people set up really elaborate, spring and summer campaigns, but there's I'll give you an example. We put 5,000 customers into this auto dialer. Basically has my message. Hey, it's Mark Stoner, Ashbuster Chimney Service. Our records indicate it's time for your annual sweep. If you'd like to book it, we're giving $50 off for the month of April or May or whatever. And click or call us back at this number, and then they get a text and they get an email, same message. We booked over 100 jobs on that in 7 days of dialing. We booked 100 jobs in the spring and summer. That's a lot of work. That booked our sweep and repair crews all the way up through June, and probably toward the end of June. And they've got solid work. It takes all of those current customers, old customers, off the list, so they're not calling us in the fall and winter when we can get to new customers. And now we've got a method that nobody wants to call, nobody wants to do it, but I am not, you can't, the times have changed. We didn't used to dial, it's just call us. And so now we call out a lot. So we have open estimates, we have annual services, we have warranty work. So all your liners you put in, or heat shields, or whatever you do that needs an annual service, you have those phone calls to make. If you do gas logs or gas appliances, the manufacturers say, it must be maintenance every year to maintain the warranty. So we got that campaign. So we've got all these campaigns that are our current customer database gold mine, want to hear from us, love us, the majority of. Some people, I had one person say a cuss word, and we take them off the list. But it's most people are voicemails, but you're planting a lot of seeds. Like, you're putting 1 million seeds out there. I mean, how many times somebody call you and you're like, yeah, book me right now. And this is the hardest time of year to book, right? You launch this again in late summer, man, you're going to be busy. There's tons of work out there for you to do. We just forget about our customers. Once they call us and they book us, most people don't do anything else with their current customers. They don't ever send them a thank you card. They don't call them again. They just wait till you call them. That used to work. That used to be okay. It's not okay anymore. It just doesn't work. We got so many messages coming to us as homeowners. I can't remember who my guy was that sprayed my house. I barely remember the guy who mows our grass, but I know enough because he's done some other properties for us. But like, I can't remember. I've had several people come over. Had a guy who washed the windows on the outside of the house. I don't remember his name. He's never reached back out to me. I'm going to probably call somebody else, right? I'd call him again if I could remember who he is. We think the customers know and remember us, and a lot of times they just simply don't, because we don't remarket to them. We don't, there's certain people you can't forget, because once you've done work for them, you get follow-up emails and follow-up things and postcards, and that's what we have to be in the home services industry. I'll tell you something else. I've learned that a lot of home services, let's just say if you've got a scheduling thing on your website and it says schedule, ABC chimney, and it sends it into you as an email, and then you look at it and try to find a spot. That's kind of the certain type of scheduling online. Give us your best times and we'll see if we can fit you in. Or you get a lead from the Better Business Bureau, or if you use Angie's List or any of these lead services that comes in, and let's just say you're really good and you call everybody back as fast as you can, and you call them back. What do you do with it then? Once you've called them back and they didn't answer, or you left a voicemail, I can tell you this: we've trashed the lead. It was done. We did what we did. They didn't call us back. We guess it's, they don't need us. Most of these companies now they follow up on that lead 6, 7, 10, 12 times with texts and emails on that one lead from however you got it. I can tell you this: we've been so spoiled that we responded to the lead once. We did what we said, put in the trash. Now every lead that comes in, we're on it like, like a dog on a bone. We're staying on that lead, staying with it for a while. Austin Harris, hey Austin, not sure we met before. It says, after every install, we let the customer know we'll be calling them this time next year to maintain their system. They're always thankful for that. So I love that, Austin. That's one step. Let me just say this. Instead of saying, hey, we're going to call you and rebook it, go ahead and book it there, right? Say, hey, great. Let me call the office. We're going to wrap up. Let's get you a date for next year. Let's put you on the books. They'll always agree to that. Say, hey, we'll call you 30 days. Make sure it's still good. Let's put you on the books right now. That way, 25, you only get 25% of these anyway. You book it, let's just say Austin, and maybe you have a higher rate, but especially chimney sweeping. Now, if you're installing an appliance, you pretty much say, hey, you got to do it every year to maintain the warranty, and they'll be good about it. But go ahead, I would say go ahead and put them on the books, right? Sooty Bob, like Copperfield, we used to do this thing where you had this postcard that said time for your annual cleaning, and it was like a chimney, but it looked like a dentist. It looked like a chimney laying down, and the chimney sweep was like the dentist, like a dentist postcard is what they got it from. And what we would do was literally you would take that postcard and you say you want it done next year, let's write in the date, and then you have them put their name and address on the postcard. Well, why would you have them put their name and address? Is because they recognize their handwriting when it comes in the mail. When that thing comes in the mail, it's got their handwriting on it, and they said that they would do this service. I can tell you, Jim Brewer and tons of other businesses built a huge repeat customer base on this process. Have them fill out the return postcard. We came back to the office. We put it in a file. Let's just say we're supposed to service them in May. We pulled all the Mays ahead in April and mailed them out. This is the date. We'll be calling. We're coming. If not, call us and change it. That's an old school way to do it. But I can tell you this. Their handwriting on that postcard was the magic, the secret sauce, because they couldn't deny they did it. You can recognize your own handwriting anywhere. And it was a really great method. But Austin, great job on that. But I bet you got a lot of other things in your business that you could do something like that for. What do you do with an open estimate? You leave an estimate. What's the process? Do you follow up 7 times? Do you make phone calls? When do you put the lead away? And so we as a chimney company we're behind the times. And I'm just telling you what the fastest growing companies are doing. I'll tell you something else I found that was a little disturbing the other day. One of our main focuses for the year is the We Fix Leaky Chimney campaign, right? It's a big deal. We put it on billboards. We have it in magazines. We have it everywhere, right? Well, I was looking the other day and I did a search, and you should do it yourself in your area. Put up leaking chimneys in Google, leaking chimney repair, leaking fireplace repair. What Google has done, and I didn't know they did this, is they put roofers, all those verified roofers, above chimney guys. It used to be when you type that in, it would be everybody who had a Google AdWords sponsored, 2 or 3 of them, and then the map, and then SEO was right under that. Well, now they've put all the roofers in front of chimney guys on the We Fix Leaky Chimney part. Roofers didn't ask for it. A lot of them don't want to fix chimneys, but Google has made this thing that roofers should get this work. Now, when I came up with a We Fix Leaky Chimney campaign, I knew that roofers were getting the majority of chimney work, and they still are. But I would say, don't call a roofer to fix your chimney. Call Ashbusters, right? The key to this ad was don't call a roofer. It was like big, bold. Well, I still use that, but I realize now in my AdWords that because it's all the roofers first. They're not even advertising. It's just that LSA where they register and they get the green check mark, and it's not in chimneys right now. It's in HVAC, it's in roofing, it's in a lot of services, but not chimneys. Well, they are ahead of us again. And so Google search for those terms aren't helping us at all. You'd have to almost buy Google AdWords that say, don't call a roofer, because it won't say that in the LSA. It just says the roofing company. And then the first paid ad says, don't call a roofer. It may help people find us better. But I can tell you this, just waiting for Google to find you, unless they type in the name of your company, which is the win, that's branding. We are at a disadvantage again for chimneys because Google doesn't even see us as a business. So that's just something I found terrible and interesting. And so now I'm adjusting our marketing to go with it. All this stuff is not, it's not good or bad. It's just, it was good one time and something changed. And now what are you going to do to change with it? Um, I will say this back to JJ's question about chimney business for me. I am changing my CRM, my software, because the software I've had has come to an end. It can't service anymore. I've had all these other to build reports. We build reports. We've got all these other ad hoc services around the one to support it, do what we need. And now we're changing service software. We're actually changing my brand. I'm going to unveil the new brand, same name but different branding. We are changing sales tactics. We're changing meetings. We are changing like so many things in the company. What got us here will not get us there. So what got us here, I run everything forever. I will run a program, a software, a thing until it stops working, and then I flip and I'll go to the next thing, and it helps us go to the next level. Sometimes if you wait too long, you're a little late. So for me, I feel like I should have probably changed service software 2 years ago when these things started becoming better, but I just kept running with what was working. And I feel like that got us a little bit behind, but I'm pretty good at catching up. I will throw the coals to it, and we're on track to do it, and I will catch up. And sometimes that just happens in business. Sometimes you're not looking and somebody passes you up. You're like, oh, now I got to catch up. And that's what I love about business. If you're always in the lead, sometimes you got to change classrooms. But what else we got going tonight, guys? I love the follow up. I love like I said, the process to call out has been just a game changer for us. My girls do not want to call out. I say my girls, I don't mean to say it that way, but they are all women. And they don't really love calling out. They don't even love receiving phone calls, but they like receiving phone calls better than calling out, because when they receive the phone call, at least the person wanted your service, who want to talk to you. When you call out, sometimes they weren't expecting you. Now, most people, I'm here in the South, so most people are nice. I can imagine certain areas people aren't so nice, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. What it means is you've got a tool to grow your business. And now looking at this, now realizing how this works, you could call a lot of people like if I call close to winter, right now we've booked 100, let's just say 110 jobs on, let's just say 3,000 phone calls. And that doesn't sound great, but when you say 100 jobs, that's really great. We took like 20 to 24 services, and we put them in this dialer, and we booked 100 jobs. Well, imagine if I do that in August. Same, obviously some of them are dialed through, but I'll dial again. If they didn't answer or respond back or ask to be removed, they're going to get another call. And I bet I get 3 or 4, maybe 5 times as many. I bet for the same phone calls, I get 500 jobs. So you can see that you can use this to grow the service company if you want. So, Matt, as you're growing a company, one of the worries is I'm not going to have enough work for the crews through the spring and summer, or whatever your seasonality is. A lot of times that's the limiting factor for chimney companies. Well, if you got some tools that you don't get limited, you can unleash these tools and these marketing programs that give you work. Now you can grow. That's how these companies, these HVAC company have 100 trucks, 200 trucks. I've said it a bunch. There's a guy in town here that's got 900 service trucks. It's just amazing. Like, they have different systems. They use these systems that I'm talking about. They've used them for years. And so that's something that we are rolling out, and I hope it's helpful for you guys. I'm about at the end of my time. Want to answer any other questions? Let me check back on the Facebook. I'm not sure that anybody actually ever saw it. Yeah, it doesn't show close unused applications. It doesn't show that anybody, there's no viewers on it. So I tried to do something live, so that I'll have to try something different next time. But yeah, kind of a wild week. Hope you guys had a good week. We're moving into, the middle of summer for us. That's typically the most dead time. And so, but also the time a lot of people go on vacations. We're getting ready to plan our company picnic in June. It should be fun. We're in Tennessee, so we can shoot guns. So we set up a shooting range out on a farm. So before the whole event, those who want to shoot rifles or whatever come, and we'll have an area that's set up as a designated shooting range, and we'll do that, and then put all that away, and then have the company party. And we kind of have a pitch in, but I'll bring a lot of the meat and stuff like that. We have it out at my wife's family farm. That should be a lot of fun. Hope you guys do something fun for your employees. I will say this as a word of warning. If you do a company event and it's on like a weekday, don't do anything that has real activity to it, so somebody could get hurt. We played paintball 2 years ago, and one of the guys, and so I used to do it during work hours, do paintball, do something fun, and I'd pay them to be there because I didn't want to take away from their weekend. I wanted to do the company event on my time, pay them so then they could have the weekend to themselves. Well, one of the guys wanted to do paintball, and we did it, and he blew his knee out, and it was one of the worst workman's comp claims I've ever had on paintball. We've had a few other injuries. We did a thing called Splash Busters, where we went out to a lake and we rented jet skis and houseboats and did a big thing out there. And we damaged some boats pretty bad. So I would say, do knitting or quilting, do sit around story time, play cards, chess, checkers, eat and talk. And I think for me, especially at a company event that you're paying for, keep the activities. Volleyball's dangerous, softball's dangerous, kickball, all that stuff, paintball. Like, I'm just word of warning, it made my workman's comp, level go out the roof, and it'll be a couple years before it comes back down because of it. So, all right, guys, hope you had a good time. Good night. I appreciate you being here, and we'll talk to you soon.